Welcome to the AdSenseFlippers podcast. Are you sick and tired of gurus who have plenty of ideas but are short on substance? Worried that ebook you bought for $17.95 won't bring you the personal and financial freedom you long for? Hey, you're not alone. Join thousands of others in their pursuit of niche profits without the bullshit. Straight from your hosts, Justin and Joe of AdSenseFlippers.
Welcome to the 7th episode of the AdSenseFlippers podcast. I'm your host, Justin Cook, and I've got with me my site transferring master, my business partner extraordinaire, Joseph William Magnotti. What's going on, buddy?
Hello, everybody.
So we've got a great episode for you this week lined up. First, we're going to go over some news and updates. We've got the AdSense Flipper intern that's coming out. We're really excited about that. Then we're going to go right into our heart of the episode, which is about transparent business models and why everyone's starting to shift in that direction and why it's good for business. Finally, we'll get into some ninja marketing tips and tricks that will hopefully put you on a path towards success. So let's get right into it, man.
Yeah, let's talk about our intern. The winner is John DeVries.
Yeah, buddy, from motovagabond.net. He's going to be coming out here February 18th, moving halfway around the world to Davao City, Philippines. Never been to Asia before, so really excited to have him come out here.
Congratulations, John. Can't wait for you to get out here and do some work.
Yeah, buddy, you got some work to do. We'll have a little bit of fun while you're out here, too. But some of the things we're going to have our intern doing, first off, we're going to sit him down with each one of our team captains for AdSense Flippers and learn the process, right? Back to front, front to back, get it all down.
Yeah, because that's really the foundation of the things that he's going to have to do after that. So if he doesn't know that stuff, it's going to be hard for him to do his own projects.
And as we want to scale up this year, we're going to have him document the process a bit better than we have right now with screencasts, that type of thing. So we have a great training document to give any new agents we bring on so we can get them right up to speed and right where they need to be.
And perhaps share that training document with our readers, with our listeners, so that you guys could see the exact process step for step and mimic that yourself with your own team.
And then the next thing we're going to have him do is we're going to have him look at some of our sites that are underperforming. We've sold a lot of our higher end sites, so now we're ending up with like kind of these really low end sites, the $2, $3 a month earners that we'd really like to see if we can do something with. If we can take a $3 earner, turn it into a $40 a month earner, and then flip that, that'd be great, right? We get a lot more value out of that site.
And that, I think, would be the biggest revenue producer that John will be involved with. He can make that a success. We'll make good money from that.
All right, John, we're counting on you, buddy. Second bit of news, we've got another 5-star review. We've got it from Peter in San Clemente, California. Told us he's cruising in his car on a Monday morning, driving into the office, and love listening to us. Man, we appreciate having you as a listener. Thanks for tuning in, and you can do it again this next Monday morning.
It's always crazy how we hear these random people that are listening to us and just getting to know us and want to leave a 5-star review. So thank you so much. So let's talk about our purchases, Justin.
Yeah, dude, we had an insane month. We had one customer this month, thank you so much, $20,000 buy of 72 sites.
Yeah, it's taken us a long time to switch out the codes and do all the migration, but it is worth it for 20 grand.
Boom, dude, that's a big one. Really excited to have that guy. He's really excited. He's a repeat buyer too, which is even better. We had another situation where it was Friday night. We were just about to go out and meet some friends for some drinks, and in the span of 10 minutes, we had 5 sales, $9,000 come in?
Yeah, the Buy Our Sites page off the hook. You know, it's working now like we updated last week, and as soon as I put the sites up there, they seem to sell. I mean, they sell so fast that I can't mark them sold fast enough, so we get duplicate sales.
Sucks, man. I wish we had more inventory so we can keep them up, but as it stands right now, we have to hold off until we have more sites we can put in the Buy Our Sites page and kind of keep up with demand.
We have sites, Justin, obviously. We have a huge library of sites. But we want to put ripe sites there. We want to put sites that are either on the incline or have steadied out, and we have good data to provide our potential buyers with. We don't want to give something that's not stable.
All right, buddy, enough with the news and updates. Let's get right into this week's heart of the episode.
The AdSenseFlippers podcast.
So this week's episode is all about the transparent business model and how this is changing the way we do business. previously, salespeople were the ones to give information. They would call customers, tell them all about the products, give them ideas on what they should purchase, what they should buy. But that's not the case anymore. So much free information is out there and available that salespeople aren't doing the informing anymore. In fact, a lot of people are making informed decisions on their own. So it's changed the model from how it used to be. We want to cover that basically in 3 different areas. First, we want to talk about work and career, how the old job model is changing to the new entrepreneurial model. Second point we want to talk about is open systems versus closed systems. And the third part we want to cover is free information versus paid information and why everything's going free.
Yeah, so the old model versus the new entrepreneurial model, this is really interesting for me because the standard narrative was go to college, take on student loans, get a job, pay off the loans, work for 30 years, retire with a pension and Social Security. But that's not happening anymore, right?
It's not. I read a really interesting blog post, and I'll link to it in the show notes. But basically, it talked about the job market in the U.S. as being an escalator. And you have the new people, the young, right out of college kids stepping on the escalator. You have the older people, the retired people stepping off, and it works, right? It simply moves everyone up from bottom of the food chain to top of the food chain, and they get off. The problem is that they no longer are getting these pensions, right? They're not able to retire, so people are staying longer, which, of course, makes everyone in the middle, the mid-managers and stuff, bunch up, right? Because they're not able to advance anymore. And all the people at the bottom are so busy trying to get on the escalator, it's just too full. So they're stuck working at Burger King, working crappy jobs that they're way overqualified for, right?
Right. And this is especially true in some European countries like Italy, the motherland for me, where they have a lot of old people stuck in these jobs because of negative population growth, are finding it harder and harder. The economy is not growing, so there's not enough jobs for people to grow into and get promoted. There are actually people from Italy are going overseas to China to find executive level positions and high level management positions.
It used to be in the US, if you commit to a job, they're going to commit to you. They're going to take care of you, right? You can work there 30 years, get your retirement. Now it's build your own company.
I think the younger generation gets this. They totally understand this. They're probably listening here going, yeah, I knew that. That's how the world works. That's not how the world worked even 15 years ago. That's a very recent new trend. Leads into how the Tropical MBA and the AdSenseFlippers intern model is completely different.
Yeah,
it's probably a little bit fringe, but it has a lot of potential, right?
Yeah, it's a totally new career path, and we're definitely on the edge here, I think, as is Tropical MBA. But it's a really interesting model in that we have people that are now starting to learn about international business, setting up their corporation in the Philippines and Hong Kong, banking in Singapore. This is the new way of doing business, which is completely different from previous businesses where they're large corporations. And one of the reasons for that is globalization and arbitrage, right? Moving yourself somewhere else so you can live cheaper.
When we owned the real estate company, when it went south, we clung to this old way of thinking about careers, right? We said, okay, our business has gone south. We have to go out and get jobs now.
Yeah, that sucked, man. I remember, 2007.
Right.
And our real estate business was not doing well. I was like, God, there's no way I could, there's nothing else for me to do. I got to go get a job. I got to make some money. I mean, at the time, moving halfway around the world to cut my costs considerably just didn't seem like a reality to me. I traveled quite a bit, and I've been around the world quite a bit, but that just, at the time, didn't seem like a real option.
Yeah, and then after 2 or 3 years working for the man, we definitely saw the writing on the wall. We wanted to get out of that situation.
Well, the thing is now, with the world market the way that it is, right, it used to be that you could learn a skill, master it, really get it down, and you're going to be that technical expert. The problem now is you have to worry about people half a world away that are learning the same stuff and will do it for 1/10 of the price. So if that particular skill that you mastered is replicatable in another country where cost of living is much less, you're in trouble. So, I mean, you start thinking about this, our backgrounds. You did the standard narrative, right? I mean, you went to college, right after college, got a job, started working your way up. So I think your way of thinking about business is a bit more conventional. It's a bit more old school. Mine was a bit different. I mean, I got out of high school, joined the Navy, went to college while I was in the Navy, and then after I got out. But I traveled quite a bit, and so I had a more, international approach to things. But it's funny because we're only a couple of years different, and it seems like there is some generational difference in how we view things too, right?
Yeah, I would hope to think that I'm getting in the younger mindset of thinking, but it's definitely taken this experience to show me that there's another path to success. Because I was more of the old school way of thinking of get a career, get absolute good education, know a skill, and then use that skill to make money.
Yeah, but now that skill could be outsourced and you're screwed, right? You're better off figuring out how to manage people with multiple skills halfway around the world, and then you can make your company or make someone else's company money, but you're still viable because you know how to work with people and manage crews.
Yeah, being a generalist and being a jack of all trades is going to be a lot more important in the future than being very specific.
Especially as the third world and the second world start stepping up and taking on more of the technical roles.
So the second point we want to talk about today is open versus closed systems. And smaller companies can afford to be more nimble, right? They can adjust quicker, they can adapt faster, whereas larger companies, they have a trouble being more agile.
Yeah, basically you see smaller companies are more bleeding edge, right? So they're more likely to be open about what they're doing. Example of that not being the case, I think, would be like the Microsoft versus Google. Both really large companies, but Microsoft a much more closed off system where you have Google being much more open. I mean, they're providing more information, free information for people, and people tend to prefer that.
Yeah, so the old way of thinking was, closed, and that once you have a business model, you don't tell anybody, right?
Yeah, you used to tell, when we were talking before, I remember you say, don't change anything but your underwear if you got something good going on.
Right, and you don't need to adjust, you don't need to adapt, you don't need to think of new ideas. All you do is just replicate that into infinity.
And I get that. I mean, a part of me understands, like the old way of thinking that if you've got something, hold on to it. Don't tell anyone. Don't have anyone replicate your process. They'll take away your advantage. Once the market's flooded, everyone will be doing it. You won't be able to do it anymore. Take advantage of your secret, right?
So the old way of being closed off would include not releasing your process, your tools, or your income, anything like that.
Yeah, don't feed your competitors any information, right? You want to keep it secret. And all the espionage going on, you have other companies calling up and asking you questions and trying to figure it out. Well, that's definitely an old way of thinking. We were that way with TriBPO, right? Like we were pretty secretive about what we were doing. Our clients, we wouldn't tell anyone about that. We wouldn't tell anyone about our process or what we were paying agents. It was very, very secret. And that's the way we thought we had to be.
Yeah, and honestly, there was no real competitive advantage to that. If we had been more open and talked about outsourcing and built a brand around it, we probably would have attracted a lot more people.
Yeah, we'd have had a lot more opportunities presented to us. So whatever information we're giving to competitors, we're getting 5 times that in opportunities opening up.
Yeah, so the customer service with the old model is to keep the client with you instead of sending them to other sources, right?
Yeah, I really like this one. I ran a customer service department for an internet marketing company, and a lot of times people would call up and they'd say, I'm looking for blue shoes, right? And if we don't have those blue shoes, we tell them, well, we have purple shoes, and in the evening, they look really blue. That was our approach to customer service. Now, right, it's not that way. You want to send them out. You want to be a hub of information. Well, the new model when it comes to being open versus closed is that it doesn't rely on leveraging secrecy. Right? It's time to leverage authority because that matters to people. So you don't want to be quiet. You don't want to be secret about your process. You want to be much more open because it builds authority in others. They start to see you as someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, you got to show people you know what you're talking about, right? Instead of trying to convince them with your super duper secrets and man behind the curtain kind of stuff, you talk about what you're doing and naturally they will see you as an authority.
It's so funny we had this epiphany because we used to be those guys. Like we would get the super duper man behind the curtain secrecy stuff. We would do that too. But as a customer, I hated it. Right? You hated it as well, I know.
Oh, terrible model. I love the open authority approach much better, and I'm glad it's working for us with AdSenseFlippers.
Well, now, another thing is that you're not setting up competitors, you're building brand evangelists, right? So we have people that are following AdSenseFlippers process that are starting to have some success, and they're linking back to us saying, hey, I got my start with these guys, it's awesome, I'm starting to make a little bit of money, some getting around money, and it's great. So the more we get of that, you can look at it as competitors, but we're helping other people achieve their goals, and they love us for that. And I think that's really cool because now we're able to network with them, they're bringing us ideas, we give them ideas, and it's like helping each other out.
Well, the cynics are going to say, even though you're open with your model, most are not going to act on it anyway, right?
Well, we're not entirely open about everything, right? We don't give away the specific niches we're working on or that we have up. We're not always talking about projects we have planned in the future, but there's a good reason for that. You don't talk about projects you have planned for the future because you haven't really done them yet, right? It's better to talk about what you're actually working on.
Yeah, we're scared to follow this model where it loses first mover competitive advantage, right? If we have something that we're planning in the future and we don't want to release that because we think it's a great idea, but we haven't acted on it yet, then that's why we can't talk about it.
Yeah, I think overall in the new model, it's really good to be a hub of information, right? So if you have the content or products and services people are looking for, fantastic, just give it to them. But if not, you can send them to people that do, right? So you don't have to sell to people looking for blue shoes, purple shoes anymore. Send them over to buy the purple shoe or send them over to buy the blue shoes, and they'll come back to you and they'll love you for it.
Yeah, I think we've found this with AdSenseFlippers for sure. I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day we get emails where I direct them to somebody else's site. I say, you can find that information over here better than I could ever explain it to you. And they write me back and say, oh, thank you, Joe, so much. And I feel like we've really gained a customer from that, even though I'm taking them off to a potentially competitor's site.
Yeah, other people do that too. I mean, Spencer's really good about that, Niche Pursuits, Pat Flynn's really good about that, Smart Passive Income, and they happily send you to places where they think that you'll get the better information, and ultimately you end up going back to them and checking out their stuff.
Yeah, because it builds respect, and people like that.
Yeah, I mean, but the funny thing is that there's so many bloggers that don't do that. You'll see they mention other people but won't link to them. They won't put any outbound links. They try to keep everyone on their site all the time, only send you to paid links or to paid products and services they have. That's crap, man. People see right through that.
Yeah, and that's a real mistake. If you really want to build a good reputation, I think you have to be more open about it and feel free to push people off to a different way of thinking.
Yeah, another thing with customer service too is that you see a lot of customer service departments that are moving on to Twitter. Like, I'm on Twitter on a regular basis. People ask me questions. Hey, do you have this? Or do you know about this? And I answer them on a regular basis. The cool thing about it is it's public, right? If someone has a question, I answer it. It's publicly given out for everyone else. So they can follow you. And you can't give one person one answer and another person a different answer and be cagey about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're taking care of that Twitter stuff, man.
It's good to have a consistent message, man, and put it out there, right? I think that's what we're able to do on Twitter, as are some of the larger brands, too. So the last section we want to talk about specifically was free versus paid, and even more specifically when it comes to information or information products. I read a book a while back. It's called Free, The Future of a Radical Price. It was written by Chris Anderson, and it really blew my mind talking about free content, and it really got the ball rolling for me on like the different types of things you can offer and avail to people for free.
Yeah, and I still haven't read it. It's in my Audible downloads, so I have the audiobook and I have to start listening to it.
Dude, you gotta check that out. I'm telling you, man, it's really, really good for giving you ideas on like other stuff we can do for free and like, you know, give out to people to help build our brand.
Yeah, once I get done with 100 site migrations, it's on the list of stuff to do. So, you know, the old way of thinking is that you provide something of value, you should get paid directly for it.
I understand that. I mean, like if I'm doing something, I'm putting in some work or some hours, I want to make sure that I'm getting paid for my time. Not anything else. I want to make sure I make some cash.
Yeah, it's an easy relationship to make in your mind, right? I do this, I get paid. Now, if you're able to offer up the machine, you might white label, you might charge a licensing fee.
Yeah, you see that a lot. So like if I have a system that's working for me, I want to find a way to open up that system to someone else. So I may charge a $60,000 licensing fee and a monthly fee for another company to be able to use that for themselves.
Right. And in internet marketing, you're seeing any number of people selling information. Some of it's useful, some of it's just rehashed bullshit, though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of info products, some of them are actually good. From what I've heard and from the few that I've seen, they provide good information. A lot of other times, though, you'll see those info products and they're the same information everyone else is putting out, or they've just kind of combined some of the free information and put it together in kind of a sloppy fashion, kind of trying to sell it to you.
Yeah, the last point in the old way of thinking is to say you don't spend any time with people if you're not getting paid.
Yeah, time is money, right? So I want to make sure I'm getting paid directly for the hours that I'm working. That's the old mindset. If I'm going to work 50 hours on this project and I want to make at least $20 an hour, right? I want to make sure that I'm making my $1,000.
Again, an easy relationship to make in your mind, but an old way of thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of a job-ish way of thinking, right? I'm still going to trade time for dollars. So the new model allows you to get paid indirectly, right? And that's something we do with AdSense Flippers, where anyone that receives our emails or checks out our emails will see that we're not selling in our emails. We're not saying, oh, check this out. We tried it. You should try it out too. It's $59.95. We don't do that. We'll provide valuable information and maybe send you some resources. And on those resources, there may be things you can purchase, but that's not what we approach. We're not selling you the information in the email and trying to get you to click and pay us money.
Yeah, I mean, we can still get paid, but it's often in a different currency, right? And that currency is loyalty, authority, evangelism, the other things we've talked about today.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think getting paid in a different currency is key. So we may be able to build loyalty. So for example, Joe, you're selling a book, right? You have a book for sale and you sell it to me. I've paid money for your book and I read it and I say, okay, well, that's good information, but our transaction's finished, right? But if you give me that book for free, the information I get out of there, if it's valuable to me, I'm gonna feel like I owe you, right? I feel like you did something for me for free and there's not a full transaction that's been made there. So either I'm gonna come back to you for more information, I'm gonna come back and buy from you maybe multiple times, I'm gonna tell my friends about you and get them to check out your book and they're gonna become evangelists for you. So that's I think a much better way to build that brand of yours, because now we have a chance for a snowball effect.
Right. You know, I never would have thought you were correct, Justin, 2 years ago, but since we've been doing this AdSense Flippers thing, the model proves itself. It works. And I love that example.
Yeah, I wish it was our model. I wish we came up, but there's a lot of people that have come before us. And so this idea of transparency in business is growing. I think we're on the edge of this, but there are other people doing it now too. And I think what's really cool about it is that it's not salesy. It's not hammering stuff down your throat. It's more explaining kind of the way things are. And then you choose, you make the choice to buy or to get free information and tell all your friends about it. That's what's really cool about it to me.
Yeah, and plus you're not tied to the hours for dollar model, right? Which is always a limiting factor. If you say, hey, I do consulting at $100 an hour, that's what I do, well, you can only work so many hours in a day.
Yeah, we have freelancer friends that are there. The smart ones, I think, will take the money that they're making on consulting or freelance work and reinvest that in things that have a chance to snowball for them. So they're no longer trading, or they're trading their time for dollars now, but they're reinvesting that money into something where they don't have to do that anymore, and that's key. That's what the new business model is about, and that's what transparency is about.
So, buddy, we've seen the light. There's no going back, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's it. I mean, everything else we do, I think, from here on in will be under this new model. Whether it's AdSense Flippers, it's outsourcing, whatever it is that we're working on, we'll be following the transparency model, because I think that's key, and I think it's the future, and I'm really glad we tried it out.
Yeah, I would be excited to adapt this model to a different business too, but we're not done with AdSense Flippers. We got plenty of things to do this year in 2012.
Well, that's it for the heart of this week's episode. Let's get right into the ninja marketing tips, tricks, and our plans for the future.
The AdSense Flippers podcast continues.
All right, Joe, so I know you have some free software recommendations for people out there. Unfortunately, I'm such a non-tech guy, I don't even use any of this crap. So I know some people do, I know you do, I know you get a lot of value out of it, but it's really not my gig.
Yeah, I figured we were talking about open systems here and the new model. I love free software when you can get your hands on it. And I just have a couple of tech tools, which we're gonna link to in the show notes, of some software that you should have on your computer if you're building niche sites, if you're doing anything technical. The first one is 7-Zip. It's a free archiving software. It's much better than WinRAR or anything you have on your machine. Check it out. It's good for compressing files and sending all those site files to servers or back to your computer. You put thousands of files in one compressed file format. The second one is Notepad++. If you do any code editing whatsoever, I really suggest using this. Or if you just edit PHP files once in a while, configuration files, anything like that, it's a little bit better than Notepad because it numbers all the rows. Again, free software, a very advanced text editor. Third one here is GIMP. This is a free Photoshop program. I've been playing around with it this week. Really love GIMP, and it's pretty powerful. Doesn't have all the features of Photoshop per se, but it's free and it will get you to where you need to be in terms of image editing. The fourth one here, FileZilla. If you need to move files around from your server up and down, FileZilla is a great program. Fire it up, get those files moved back and forth. And the last one is a program called Putty, which allows you to get SSH access or shell access into your server. Again, a free piece of software that will allow you to get command line level access to your hosting provider.
That all sounds way over my head, buddy. Well, that is it for episode 7 of the AdSenseFlippers podcast. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll be back with another episode, fresh and hot, delivered right to you next week.
Lucky number 7. Goodbye, everybody.
You've been listening to the AdSenseFlippers podcast with Justin and Joe. Be sure to hit up AdSenseFlippers.com for more. That's AdSenseFlippers.com. Thanks for listening.